Let's be honest, most public interventions are usually quite boring. They usually start with an awkward presentation or a list of titles, and then the presenter just kills the suspense right away by telling us what he or she is going to talk about. We mostly have very filled slides and a flat tone, very little emotion, and by minute 1 or 2 we usually lose interest and scroll down our Facebook posts. So how can you give more energy to your next public intervention? I'm going to give you a few tips. First, delve into it right away. No boring introduction. Let the moderator introduce you and say who you are and what you've done. Just start right away. Second, start with a story, an anecdote, an experience, something that you've lived and that you will feel very comfortable talking about. This will help connect with the audience and trigger more emotion, and that will feel much more comfortable to start with. Use details. Talk about what you see, what you hear, what you wear, what you feel at that moment. Give as many small details as possible so that the audience actually puts themselves into your feet. And then, third, pass from the story of me, an individual story, to the story of us. Story of us is the collective story, to show that what you talked about in the first place is actually the illustration of something bigger than you. That's when you talk about data and percentage. That's when you can be visual about your data like Hans Rosling used to do. Fourth, you go into the story of now. The story of now is actually, what is your solution? What do you propose? That's the how and the what, right? If we talk about the golden circle of Simon Sinek, the idea is to talk about the how and the what at that moment. What is in the about section of your website? What is the process that your client or your user will follow using your project or your product? And tell us how awesome your project is. What is different from all the others out there? And then the last part to conclude is the call to action. You actually talk to trigger something in the audience. You want people to do something after your talk. So call an action. What do you want them to do? It can be something very specific or it can be something more generic. But try to trigger something in them. And then be aware of the interpretation. Try to smile as much as possible. Try to look at people in the eyes. Try to stand still and to anchor yourself. Talk from the heart and enjoy as much as possible the moment. Good luck.